Alright, you guys, Halloween Horror Month and the Saw series reviews continues and ends with Saw the Final Chapter, aka Saw 3D, aka Saw 7, which this film is directed by Kevin Greer, the guy who was the editor on Saw 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5, and then he went on to direct Saw 6, which, if you saw my review, you know that I really love Saw 6. Like, it's one of my favorite ones of the series. That's how much I love it. And I don't want to really get into it because it's not really my business, but Kevin Greiter was kind of thrown on the project like a week before filming. This film was supposed to be directed by David Hackle, the guy who directed Saw 5, which I thought he did an okay job with Saw 5, so I didn't have a problem with him directing Saw 7 until, Kevin Greiter came on with a week before they started filming. I'm like, this movie's in trouble, you know? Uh, and sure enough, this movie was in trouble. Let's talk about the plot. First of all, it's written by Patrick Melton and Mark Stunson, who I just love. Those guys working in the horror field, they are really, really good with horror, despite what you think about this movie. And I'll talk about what I think about this movie. But the plot is we meet Bobby Dagen, who is this famous author, and he wrote a book about how he survived a jigsaw trap. And this is not a spoiler right here, but in the beginning of the movie, you find out that, of course, he's lying. He never actually survived a jigsaw trap. So he gets put into a game, and he's really, like, Jigsaw's telling him, oh, you want to lie and say you survived a jigsaw trap? Now you're really going to see if you can survive a jigsaw trap. Write about that in your notebook, buddy. And while all that's going on, spoiler alert from Saw 6, Hoffman is indeed alive, and he's very pissed off at Jill. So this movie, he's on the hunt for Jill. He's trying to track her down and get his revenge against her. That's the plot of Saw the Final Chapter. What I think of Saw the Final Chapter is... Get ready for some ranting. This movie's a fucking mess. It is. And I hate saying that. I love the Saw movies. I'm a huge Saw fan. I'm the biggest Saw fan that I know. I don't know. Robert Sprunger from the House of Jigsaw, he's up for some competition there. But either way, I'm a massive Saw fan. So for me to bash on a Saw movie, it sucks. I hate it. I hate doing it. But I'm not going to say it's good if it's really not. Now, I got to admit, when this movie first came out, and I got done watching this movie in the theater, and I came out, I'm like, yeah, that movie was cool. I was lying to myself. I Phantom Menaced this movie. I did. I lied to myself saying that movie was good. Watched it a couple more times. It's not that good. And, I'm sitting there thinking about it, and I'm like, what was really good about it? Not much. I will say, though, this movie's not, like, completely terrible, I guess. I mean, there's a couple redeeming qualities about it. Not much, like I said. But let's talk about some of the characters. Like, Costas Mandylor is killing it as Hoffman. No pun intended, but, and you could tell Costas Mandylor is having fun with this movie. And, which is fine, because this movie calls for him to be a badass. So if I was Costas Mandylor and I was playing Hoffman, I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to have a lot of fun making this movie. So, I mean, that's good. Betsy Russell is Jill Tugg, which I was never really that big on her. Like, I thought she was the best in Saw 6. Saw 6, I think she was the best in. Other than that, I don't really care for the character of Jill Tugg, but in this movie, she was fucking terrible. I don't know what happened here. Like, her acting, she really overacted, like, the whole movie. The line, like, a lot of her lines are really, really bad, and maybe that's part of the writing's fault, too, but, I mean, I kind of understand, because they wanted, the finale of Saw to be two parts. They wanted Saw 7 to be part 1 and Saw 8 to be part 2 of the finale. And then when, Saw 6 didn't make enough money, they're like, oh shit, we can only do one more movie. So they kind of just crambled in what they had for 7 and 8 together. And, I kind of respect them for trying to do that. I mean, they did try, so I kind of respect that. But the problem is, it didn't work. It didn't at all. Let's talk about some of the new characters, though. Sean Patrick Flanery, who I'm a big fan of Sean Patrick Flanery. I do. I like him a lot. Boondock Saints, Sin and Chiro, I like Sean Patrick Flanery. And in this movie, he's not bad. He's not a bad actor. But like I said, there are a couple times in this movie where he kind of overacts a little bit too, but not that much. I think he's still good, and I think he's a, I think he's still a good actor. But the character of Bobby, like, it's a cool concept, I guess. You know, I mean, I liked the idea. It's just the problem is the way it was executed. Not like the way he acted or anything, like I already said, but the way it was all executed and written and you know filmed and everything. It didn't work. Uh, yeah, let's talk about what's her name, Joyce, played by Gina Holden. She was all right, I guess. I mean, she didn't really have a lot to do. But this movie, like we were promised that okay, this one's gonna be about survivors. All right, it's gonna be about surviving, and I knew that we weren't gonna get like all the survivors and like traps again. Like I knew they weren't gonna be retested. But you know, so I was happy to see some survivors back. There's a couple survivors that I wish would have been in this movie, but for some reason or another, they weren't in this movie. Like maybe they couldn't get them, or they didn't want to do it, or whatever. Uh, but like Daniel Matthews, what the fuck happened to him? Lawrence Gordon's wife and daughter. I mean, even though they weren't really tested, I guess, but still, what happened to them? Because I'll talk about how Dr. Gordon, because you know this was announced. You know when the movie was announced and they announced the cast, they announced that he was coming back. It wasn't a surprise. But Dr. Gordon is back, and I'll talk about him in a minute here. But yeah, Tobin Bell as Jigsaw. Like, all right, this review. Like, I'm not gonna say spoiler alert. This review is going to be spoiler heavy. So, Tobin Bell as Jigsaw. Well, I do like Tobin Bell a lot as Jigsaw. He wasn't there. He wasn't in the movie. Like, sure, he had him doing his, you know, hello Bobby, I want to play a game. But he was like he was back to the puppet thing. Like he wasn't just him on a tape like he was in Saw 6, which I respected because it was more personal and I get that. Um, but other than that, he wasn't in the movie. He was in one flashback scene and he wore an Adidas tracksuit and a backwards baseball hat. Like, alright, whatever. And the dialogue, like, it was fine. Like, it was kind of cool. Like, it was a good interaction between the two characters, but they made it up to be like it was so important to John Kramer, and it's not really. Which is another thing. They were advertising this movie, and in the trailers, Jigsaw said, "All of my work has been leading to this." Bullshit, bullshit. This, all of your work's been leading to this. What the fuck, guys? Come on, like the game. Okay, I understand. He wants to test Bobby, because you know I get why he wants to test Bobby, but it's not personal. Like all of his work that he's been doing from Saw 1 through 6 was not leading to this. I'll tell you that right now. Um, the traps. I will admit, one of the redeeming qualities about this movie is a couple of the traps. Now, a lot of the traps I'm not too fond of. But there are, I want to say, maybe 3 traps in the movie in particular that kind of, stick out. One I'll talk about in a minute. But there's one in particular where he's pulling a fish hook out of a girl's, or Bobby is pulling a fish hook out of a girl's stomach. And, you know, that one was cool. I like that one. Like, he had some good lines. Like, why didn't you just shut the fuck up? You just needed to shut up. You know, you have to watch the movie to understand. Like, I like that trap a lot. My favorite trap in this movie, though, is the one where Kale, his best friend, and wasn't that his lawyer, too, or something? I don't know. Like, is his best friend, I don't know. His best friend Kale is blindfolded, and he has to walk across all these planks and stuff like that. And I guess originally it was supposed to be pitch black, and they were supposed to have night vision goggles, but you know they didn't end up doing that because I guess they didn't have the budget or something like that, or it just would have been too difficult to shoot something. But that whole trap with the planks and the blindfolds, that's my favorite trap in the movie. Like I think that trap is awesome. Like I'll still defend that particular trap. And then there's this one trap where we have Chester Bennington, yes, lead singer of Linkin Park, is in this movie. And I guess he's a giant Saw fan, and you know he wanted to be a part of a Saw movie, which is cool. I respect that. I've always wanted to be a part of a Saw movie. But he's like glued to a car seat, and you know he's trying to pull away from the car seat, but his back is glued to the car seat. Like, what kind of glue? Like, the superest of the super glues would never do that because bone is exposed. No, not just a little bit of skin peeled off. Bone is exposed. I don't know. Yeah, it's just this movie's a giant mess. I want to talk about was it Chad Donella as Gibson, who was the kid from the first Final Destination movie, the one that got hung in the bathroom. Yeah, he's in this movie. He's a little bit older. He didn't really get any wiser though. Like Gibson doesn't compare at all to Strom or even Tapp or anything like that. And, Carey, all those cops were better cops than he was. Why was he in the movie? I get it. Protect Jill Tuck. But I didn't like him in this movie. I didn't. I didn't like a lot of people in this movie, but there are some people that I did like about this movie. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else to say. The ending, I do want to talk about the ending for a minute. The whole ending with spoiler alert when Hoffman does finally catch up to Jill and he's killing off everybody in the police station. I thought that stuff was actually pretty awesome. Like I'll still say that stuff's awesome. It's intense. It had you on the edge of your seat. It's that part's still good. And then when he spoiler alert once again, he kills Jill. Um, I mean, it was great to see the reverse bear trap in action, to see a little montage of Jill and John when they were happy and had a happy life together before all this stuff started. I mean, that was cool, I guess. Really, it was just. I think I just mainly liked it because we got to see the reverse bear trap in action. I don't know, but yeah. Hoffman, like I said, he's still a badass. But then I do want to talk about, like, the major ending. The twist. Because it wouldn't be a Saw movie without the twist. The twist in this movie is something that we all guessed. All of us fans on House of Jigsaw or wherever, all of us fans guessed the ending. Saw 2. As like a joke, though. Like, we didn't say, like, it was kind of more of a, oh, that'll never happen. But could you imagine if it did? And it did. It happened. It was the final twist of the final Saw movie. I was not happy with that at all. And at first it was cool because I mean I did like the montage a little bit, and Charlie Clouser's music I do have to mention once again because that fits so well. Like Charlie Clouser still kills it with the music. He does. And I really do love the music in this movie. It's similar to all the rest, but it's still good. Um so I mean the music kind of made it a little bit better, but that twist, like I hate that twist. I do. Like I I'm not gonna lie. A lot of us on the House of Jigsaw, and I'm gonna bring that up a lot because I do miss that site. A lot of us on House of Jigsaw wrote our own Saw 7 fan fiction scripts, and I'll tell you, like pretty much everybody's that I've read anyway was all better than Saw 7, and I thought I had a pretty cool idea, though mine, involved, the survivors like being retested again. Well, they weren't really being retested. It's not important. I'm not gonna get into it, but like that. Any of those would have been better than Saw 7. I don't know, guys. Like, this movie just pisses me the fuck off. It does. I feel like I've been slapped in the face as a giant Saw fan. And knowing that this is the last one, even at the end I was praying. I'm like, I know this is the last one. And I hate when horror franchises in particular say it's the final one and they make 10 other sequels. Friday the 13th, they said it was the final chapter at the 4th one. How many Friday the 13th movies have there been since then? But I was hoping one more Saw movie. Maybe they could redeem itself. It's been 5 years. Nothing of a Saw movie. There's some cool like fan posters going around online, and there's some rumor articles that have been popping up here and there, but nothing. There's no Saw 8 coming anytime soon. I think the next time we're gonna see a Saw movie is when they decide to reboot it in like anywhere from 5 to 10 years. Yeah, I think it'll be that soon. But yeah, I don't know. I'm very, very disappointed with this movie. I hate bashing on a Saw movie. I do. A couple redeeming qualities, but not very many. Like I said, I tricked myself into thinking it was a good movie. If you guys are a Saw fan and you have not seen Saw the Final Chapter yet, I recommend. I wouldn't even. No, I was gonna say I'd recommend at least giving it a chance, but I can't. I can't do that to you guys. I can't. So just pretend Saw 6 is the last one. That's what I like to do. I just like to pretend that it ended at 6. 6 would have been a good ending had Hoffman died. But yeah, I don't know. There were so many questions that were left unanswered. Like Dr. Gordon. Okay, it was cool to see Dr. Gordon back. Like, I still think the very beginning of the movie with Dr. Gordon is pretty cool. We see him crawling away through the halls, and, that's cool. And then when he, like, shows up in the Survivor meeting, that felt out of place, but it was nice to see him in the Survivor group for some reason. And then the ending. I hated the ending. I do. Because, like, what happened? He was so adamant about getting back to his wife and daughter. Where the fuck were they? Did they leave him? Did he leave them? What difference does it make? I don't know, but it would have been nice to get a little bit of explanation. There's no explanation to any of this. It's just a montage of, oh, It's like Dr. Gordon took out a map of the Saw world, the Saw franchise, and he put little X's and put Dr. Gordon was here all over the place. That's what that ending montage felt like. There was no explanation. He just, Dr. Gordon was here, Dr. Gordon was here, Dr. Gordon was here, joke's on you. Was. I don't know. So, basically, I'm going to say, fuck Saw the final chapter. Like I said, couple redeeming qualities, but 98% of the movie I don't like at all. I don't. Uh, yeah. All in all, guys, I'm gonna give Saw the final chapter. It was gonna be nice and give it a D minus, but you know it's been 5 years. I'm giving it an F. Yeah. I was gonna try to be nice and give it a D minus. I have to give it an F, because there's just, while there is stuff I do like about the movie here and there, it's not enough to save the movie. It's not enough for me to want to watch this movie again. It's just, I don't know. What do you guys think of Saw the Final Chapter, aka Saw 3D? Comment your thoughts down below. You know I live for them, people. Like the video, share, and subscribe. Just do it!